It is now time to talk about how you can enjoy nature in our community with the weather warming up and the sun staying out a little bit longer each day. Joining us now to give us some tips on enjoying nature in our community is board member for the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary, Carol Fink. Carol, thank you for joining us again this morning.
Good morning, Maddie. It's a pleasure to be here, and it is a beautiful day.
Carol, let's first start off with a little bit of your background and telling us a little bit about how you got involved with the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary.
That's a good question. Well, my whole life and probably past lives, I've always had an absolute passion for being in the outdoors. Back in the 90s, I taught both for West Bloomfield Community Ed and Parks and Rec, teaching cross-country skiing, wildflower walks, working with scout groups. And then when the Orchard Lake Nature Preserve or Nature Sanctuary started, I just sort of blended with them. It's a great group. And it's all about protecting our beautiful lands and sustaining healthy habitats. So I just love being there. It's easy.
And Carol, you know a ton of information about the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary. Could you share with us a little bit about the history of the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary in West Bloomfield and some interesting facts about it?
It is a really beautiful place. We refer to it as the little gourmet shop. We're about 30 acres. Back in 1990s, the city of Orchard Lake, including the community and with some grants from the DNR, we purchased the 35-acre land from Cranbrook. And it's just a beautiful place to do, just to be there and enjoy the beauty of nature. It's a great sanctuary. It's named really appropriately. So back when it was owned by Cranbrook, it was used as an off-site nature area. So it was already there, trails were already established, and it was just a place waiting to visit with more people.
Carol, with the Michigan weather starting to warm up a little bit, what are some of the things that you see that stand out in nature and are changing right now as the weather is warming up?
Oh, Maddie, I love that question. First of all, spring has been going on underneath the cold snow for several weeks now. It never really goes away. Everything is still alive underneath the snow. So right now it's a really exciting time. We're coming into March. Yeah, I'm sure you folks are noticing more daylight. More daylight means more things have, the trees are starting to, they're starting to bud. They're preparing themselves for spring. It's maple sugar season. Please, if you haven't had a chance, several places around town are offering maple programs. So don't just go to one. I know we have one at Farmington Hills Nature Center. Tollgate Farm offers a maple sugaring. Kensington, all the other metro parks. So it's a great time to learn. Every place tells about similar information, but everyone has its own spin on it. Also, once again, it's acknowledging the Native Americans who taught us this fine skill about collecting sap for maple syrup. The March full moon was known as the maple moon, and it was a time when the Native Americans were running out of their food stores, they were running out of rice, they were running out of corn, and basically they were starving to death. March was a very difficult month. Things weren't starting to grow yet, and they had starting to run out of their food caches. So maybe by observing squirrels drinking from a broken branch on a maple tree. There's stories and legends how this happened, but the people found that if they drank that sweet water from the maple trees, drop by drop, and collecting it, in reservoirs, that was able to sustain them. So the maple trees actually saved lives. So, which is why we acknowledge and appreciate so much about the beauty of the trees. It's a really fun program wherever you go, and learn the secrets of sap season.
Carol,
so that's happening. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Carol, even though it's a little wet out with the melting snow or some of the rain that is coming in March and April, how can one still enjoy nature in our community?
Another great question. First of all, once that weather gets over to 32 degrees, the wetness is great. It's our earth waking up. So when you go out in the day, it gets a little bit warmer, you can smell the earth, and it's such a fantastic smell. And usually you're smelling it through the mud. So mud is a really good thing. March is known as the season of ice and mud. It's a beautiful combination. So my recommendation is go outside, put boots on, dress for the weather. Don't miss this great reawakening of spring. Right now, a lot of birds are coming back. I've seen bluebirds. And they're not blue jays are also here, but the bluebirds are returning, and they carry the blue sky on their back. Some of the sandhill cranes are back, red-winged blackbirds, red-tailed hawks. Just go out and play. It's beautiful. And just dress for the weather, because you want to really enjoy where you are.
And Carol, as we wrap up here, could you share some of the ways or a way that members in our West Bloomfield community can go out and respect nature as well as the Orchard Lake Nature Sanctuary?
Oh, excellent question. Really recommend that no matter which nature center you're at or which nature trails, please stay on the trails. Right now, it's very tender time because things are just starting to grow. So you don't want to squish anything in the woods. Also, come a few more weeks, poison ivy is going to be coming up. That's another really good reason to stay on the trails. Enjoy and respect nature. I have a reading from Thich Nhat Hanh if we have time for that. Just respect the earth. We ask that you don't bring your pets to the nature center areas because it sort of disturbs the fine balance of nature we have there. We've got some great dog parks around, so please leave your pets home. When you come out and visit the woods. I recommend bringing water. I recommend bringing snacks. Got to have snacks in the woods. Also, we talked earlier at the time about tracking, and snow is a great way to track animals. So is mud. Mud is a really great way. You find great raccoon footprints in the mud, and it really doesn't matter so much what you're seeing out there, but the important thing is that you're seeing. You're not just looking at nature, you're looking and you're seeing texture and form and using all your senses. So just go out and play and get dirty.
Well, Carol,
I've always lived.
We so appreciate you joining us this morning. It's such a pleasure having you join us.
Thank you so much for having me. Well, I'm going to go put on my rubber boots and go out and play. Thanks again. See you out in the woods.